You know, Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot, it's one of those plays, right? Famously difficult. People have been debating what it all means for decades. But what if the key to unlocking this modern masterpiece is actually hidden in an ancient philosophy? Well, that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at Godot through a totally new lens, the Bhagavad Gita.
The play kicks off with this line, and honestly, it says it all. Nothing to be done. It's just total resignation, a feeling of being completely stuck. This one line sets the stage for everything that's about to happen, or, not happen.
So this is the classic take, right? The one you probably heard in school. You've got these two guys, Vladimir and Estragon, and they are just trapped in this pointless, endless loop. It's the perfect picture of what they call the theater of the absurd. They wait, they suffer, they forget, and then they just wait all over again. It's a really powerful vision of the modern human condition.
But what if that's not the whole story? What if we could look at their situation and diagnose it with something other than Western existentialism? What if we could use an ancient Eastern philosophical toolkit instead? And this, right here, is where things get really, really interesting.
All right, so let's bring in our key, the Bhagavad Gita. And just so we're clear, we're not really looking at it as a religious text here. Think of it more like a profound conversation about human crisis, about action, and about the hunt for meaning.
You see, the Gita kicks off at a moment of absolute breakdown. The hero, Arjuna, he's this great warrior. He's on the battlefield, ready for the fight of his life. But then he looks across the field, and he sees his own family, his own teachers on the other side. And he just breaks. He completely gives up. He starts questioning everything, his duty, his purpose, the whole point of it all. And that crisis, that's the engine for the entire philosophy that's about to unfold.
So there's a Sanskrit word for the state Arjuna is in, Vishada. And it's so much more than just being sad. It's this deep, existential despair, where your entire worldview just completely crumbles. Hang on to that word, Vishada. It's going to be the bridge between these two very different worlds.
Okay, so now we have our two stories of crisis. Let's put them side by side and see what this new lens actually shows us.
And the parallel is pretty striking, isn't it? Both Arjuna and our guys in Godot are basically going through a form of Vishada, this paralysis that comes from a sense of meaninglessness. Arjuna is questioning the point of war, and Vladimir and Estragon, they're questioning the very point of being alive.
But, and this is the big one, here's the crucial difference. For Arjuna, this crisis is a launch pad. It's the start of a journey towards some kind of understanding. For Vladimir and Estragon, the crisis isn't the beginning of anything. It's just how things are. It's a permanent state of being, with no guide and zero resolution in sight.
And this difference gets even deeper when you look at how they treat time, or kala, in Sanskrit. In the Gita, time is this huge, meaningful cycle. It's all part of a grand cosmic rhythm that allows for things to be renewed. But in Godot, time is a cycle too, but it's like a broken record. It's not a rhythm, it's a trap.
And look, this isn't just some abstract idea. It is literally how the play is built. Act 2 is almost a perfect copy of Act 1. They're back at the same road, by the same sad little tree, and every single night a boy shows up with the exact same message. Godot's not coming today, but for sure tomorrow. It is the perfect picture of a cycle of stagnation.
So if they're stuck in this loop, what on earth are they actually waiting for? Who or what is this Godot that's got them so completely captivated? Well, here's an idea that completely reframes the whole play. Godot isn't a character at all. Godot is an expectation. The moment you see it that way, everything starts to click into place. We can stop looking for a person and start seeing Godot as a state of mind, the very act of waiting for something outside of yourself to come and fix everything.
You know, the Gita has this concept called asha, which means hope or desire. And the philosophy basically argues that when you pin all your happiness on some future result, you become a prisoner to it. And that is exactly how Godot works in the play. Godot is their asha. It's the hope that keeps them going, yeah? But it's also the very thing that keeps them paralyzed, stuck right where they are.
And that brings us to the biggest fork in the road between these two worldviews. It all boils down to one single question. When you're faced with a world that feels meaningless, what do?
The Gita's answer is something called karma yoga, and specifically nishkama karma. And this is a pretty revolutionary idea. It says, act, do your duty, do what's in front of you, but, and this is the absolute key, do it without being attached to the results.
You have to find meaning in the action itself, not in whatever reward you think you're going to get at the end.
Okay, now look back at Vladimir and Estragon. They are the complete polar opposite of this idea. They constantly say, let's go, but then they don't move. Their whole existence is defined by inaction, by just waiting for a result, Godot's arrival, to finally give them some meaning. They are completely trapped by their attachment to that outcome. And right here, in this table, the contrast is just laid bare. You've got the Gita, which presents a world where selfless action is your path to freedom, and then you have Godot, which shows us a world where action is pointless, hope is a trap, and there's just no way out. It is a perfect philosophical flip side. So, why do all this? Why drag an ancient Indian text into a 20th century Irish play? What does looking at it this way actually change for us? Well, reading Godot to the Gita doesn't just get rid of the dread, it gives it a name, a diagnosis. We see that their suffering isn't just some random, absurd thing. It comes from their attachment to that asha, their desperate hope for Godot. Their paralysis isn't a universal sentence. It's a consequence of their choice not to act without a guarantee. In this view, it shows us that these huge questions about meaning, they're not Western or Eastern. They're just human. They cross all cultures and all of time.
So if we take all this wisdom from the Gita and really apply it to Vladimir and Estragon's endless wait, what's the final lesson hiding in there?
Here it is. This is the profound counter-argument the Gita offers. Meaning isn't something that's just granted to you by some distant arrival. It's something that is shaped, that is built by right action and by clarity of mind. Vladimir and Estragon are looking in completely the wrong direction. They're waiting for meaning to show up from the outside when this philosophy says, no, you have to build it from within, right here, right now. And that's where we're left. On one hand, Beckett gives us this masterful, haunting portrait of the world as a prison, of waiting. On the other, the Gita offers us a key to that prison, a key made of action and letting go. So the final thought I want to leave you with is this. The play shows a world with no escape. The philosophy suggests a path to freedom. Which of those two realities feels more true to you?